Morning. How are you all? So, how's your school going? How's your school going? Good. Exams must be approaching now. March is about to come. You all are preparing? Good. Morning. You must be wondering, what are you seeing on your screens? You must be wondering, what is going to start with it? Jiva, is this a tiger? Alright, let's start. You recognize these members from the cat family? There are two pictures in front of you. Which one is cheetah? The first one or the second one? Which is the picture of cheetah? The first one or second one? Is it Jiva? Look carefully. Yes, very good. Second one is cheetah. And the first one? The first picture is of? No, Jiva, it's not a tiger. Could you recognize? Very good, Farah. We've got it. It's a leopard. So, why did I do this? What is the purpose behind? Do you know today's topic? What are we going to start with? What are we going to start with? You don't know the topic? Well, I'll tell you. First of all, why I showed you this picture was because there is a slight difference between the two. Although there is a major difference that they are two different creatures, but what is the difference? How we could recognize it is through their skin patterns. So, you see, this first image is of cheetah and this is the skin of leopard, right? Did you see the difference now in the spot patterns? You see the difference in the spot patterns? Yes, there we cannot see any brown spots in between and here we could recognize it. So, what are we going to start with is easily confused words and spellings. If we look at this image, earlier in this image, we were able to see that two of them looked very similar. They were closely related. But what we actually found out, that there is a difference between the two. And what is the difference? How did we recognize them? Through their skin patterns. Similarly, we have some words. Yes. So we have some words with us which actually look very similar and they are very closely related, but they are entirely different and they have different meanings. Okay. So before starting it, yes, Farah? I'll just show you, Jiva. I'm coming to it. Farah, you want to ask something? You want to ask something, Farah? Alright. So now, let's see. Which word would fill in the blank? The blank of eating junk food is very bad. Yes. So, what did we get? The effect of eating junk food is bad. Do we know the difference between the two words? Do we know the difference between the two words? The spelling, very good. The first thing we see is the spelling, which is again a very minor difference. If you see, just one letter differs. Isn't it? Do you see? What is the difference in the meaning? Could somebody tell me? Yes. What is the difference in the meanings? They are again very closely related and often we tend to confuse these words, but what is the difference? Could anybody tell me the difference between the two words? Anyone? Nobody knows? The first difference we already found out was in their spellings. And the other, if we see, what is the difference? The word affect, that is with an A, means to influence upon, whereas effect, if we see, the word with E is a result or outcome of something. For you, I have an example in the sentence. The effect of the earthquake affected me badly. So, what was the effect? That was the result of earthquake. Actually, They are not homophones. Para, they are not homophones exactly, because what happens is we see that there is no similar sound. One is affect, the other is effect, right? So we have the sound of A and E. If you're talking about the word pair they, their and they are, then definitely they are homophones, yes. But here we are talking about affect and effect. Alright? Yes? Is it clear? Did you get the difference? Did you get the difference? Affect, let me make it clear to you. How I do is, affect is something feeling oriented, which you are actually unable to see. There is some result or outcome of a feeling, probably you're feeling something, that is affect. Like your bad friend's behavior affects you badly. That means you get either disturbed by her behavior or you don't like it. But the effect is that you stop talking to her. Is it clear? So this is something, probably a physical change which happens after there is some destruction, or probably if we are talking about earthquake, we see the effect of the earthquake. So what could be the effect of the earthquake scene? There were destructions, people getting homeless, but effect was that mentally you actually got affected. So affect is feeling oriented and effect is physical change or a result or outcome of something. Is it clear? Was the difference clear to you? And to be more specific, if we see affect is a noun whereas effect is a verb. I'm sorry, I did it other way around. Affect is a verb and effect is a noun. Alright? Yes. So, did I make the difference clear? This is very important and we actually tend to make mistakes in this. So, you have to be very careful. Right? You see a funny image in front of you? Is this effect of eating an ice cream or affect? What is it? Is it an affect or an effect? Very good, Jason. This is an effect. And what is the effect? That the boy has become obese. He has become fat eating the ice creams. And what has got actually affected with this? What is the effect of eating ice cream? That he is becoming unhealthy. Yes? Is it? Did you get the difference clear now? Sorry. So, what we see is, yes, so what we see is such words which have very closely related meanings or sometimes they have entirely different meaning, but we often tend to confuse them. They are confusing words. Alright? So, we'll look for some words which we actually tend to confuse with, but we don't even realize it. Alright? Yes? So, what did I tell you about confusing words? The first thing we talked about. What are confusing words? How are they confusing? Alright, so the first thing we saw is that they have different meanings and may be closely related. So if we think about affect and effect we just talked about, they are very closely related if we see. But the one is the influence, having something which we get affected with, and the effect is the physical change or the result of a particular action. Alright? Then the next thing about confusing words is they have different spellings. So here we have an example. This is again a confusing thing. Could you tell me the difference between belief and believe? Belief and believe? Everybody is not responding me. Are you finding it boring? You're not finding it interesting? What's wrong? I couldn't see your replies. Yes, Farah, I believe. Then what is the difference between belief and believe? Believe means trusting. Both of them means trusting. Then what is the difference? Tell me, what is the difference between the two? Do you know? Nobody is answering. What happened? Asya, are you late? You don't know the difference? What happened? Alright. So, the first, if we talk about, this is something which is a noun, whereas this is a verb. That means when you trust or have confidence, to have trust or confidence in something is believing something. Whereas belief is again a noun, that you have belief in a particular thing. Is it clear? Yes, believe means trust, whereas believe is to trust, right? Belief is confidence, having confidence in something, whereas believe is to have confidence in something. Is it clear? Did you get the difference? Am I making sense? Yes? So you know the difference between a verb and a noun? Noun is a place or a thing or a thought it could be, whereas verb is an action. So believing, that means to have confidence or trust in something is that you believe in that particular thing. Whereas when you have belief over something, that is a noun, that you have confidence in something. Alright? So you see the minor difference we have is the spellings and then entirely different meaning. Alright? Okay. Then we have may or may not have different pronunciation. So it could be that the words have same pronunciation or they might not have same pronunciation. Like the word we have this, breathe and breath. Do you know the difference? Breathe and breath. Sorry for my bad throat. Breathe means row. Is it, Jiva? Breathe and breath. I'm coming to that, Asya. First I'm asking you about breathe and breath. Do we know the difference? Breathing air, very good. Yes. So breathe again with an E, if you see, is a verb. That is the activity or the process of inhaling and exhaling here. Very good. And the breath is the air you breathe in. Yes? That is, the act of breathing is breath. Do you get it? Is it clear? A slight difference, yet a difference in meaning. Alright? So you always breathe the air, right? And you don't breath the air. Alright? Yes? Similarly, we have the words like sight, sight. You remember we did this in homophones? Do you remember? Sight, a place. Very good, Asya. Yes. And this sight with C is? This sight with C? Sight with C, what is it? Sight with C is to quote something or to refer to something. No, Devanshi, this eyesight, that eyesight would be S-I-G-H-T. If you remember, we did that in homophones. S-I-G-H-T, that would be eyesight. Right? And this sight, if we see, what is this sight? This sight is when you refer or quote to something. That means citing examples. When you cite some examples, that is C-I-T-E. Whereas S-I-T-E is a place, probably, yes,